You changed my world when you came to me. You drove a passion in my soul down deep. Lord, to follow you in everything. I don't wanna go somewhere if I know that you're not there. 'Cause I know that me without you is a lie.
The history of the Diocese of Marquette is really very rich. We go back really to the very early days of the Jesuit missionaries who first brought the faith to this region of the country, but I think we're most clearly identified with our first bishop, Bishop Frederick Baraga, who came as a Slovenian priest to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan back in the very early days of the 19th century. And it is really Bishop Baraga who brought the gospel to the faithful of the Upper Peninsula with a real heart for Native American ministry to bring the gospel to the native peoples of this region. But then as the diocese began to be settled by the European immigrants who came to work in the Upper Peninsula, particularly in some of the mining and lumber industries, Bishop Baraga also ministered to their needs as well. And so we trace our roots really back to that great missionary spirit of Bishop Baraga. And then throughout all of these years since the time of Bishop Baraga, a very rich legacy of faith has been handed on to us from those earliest days. And now, as we stand here at the beginning of the new millennium, it is now our responsibility to bring that legacy of faith and to share that legacy of faith with the future generations as it has been handed on down to us by those who have gone before us.
The legacy of Faith Endowment is very important so that we can continue for future generations. Having an endowment fund, is exactly what it says. That money is going to be there, the corpus is going to be there forever.
Just think of the possibilities we could have if we had a foundation, fully funded, protect the corpus, take that principle, invest it, not just Catholic schools, but religious education throughout our whole lifetime. Not just for our kids, but how about us adults? We still need some education in our Catholic faith and Catholic principles.
Bishop Garland established the Legacy of Faith Foundation with a goal of raising $10 million that would then serve as an endowment to help fund the future needs of our church in order to hand on the faith to those future generations. We will take $5 million of the endowment, and from that $5 million, the income generated off of that will go to the support of our Catholic schools, which is incredibly important for us.
Half of the Legacy of Faith grants are awarded to our diocese Catholic schools, where students learn much more than the 3 R's. They are further enriched by a 4th R, religion. Along with an emphasis on the academic excellence for which Catholic schools are known, faith education plays a key role. Our schools are an extension of the family, where faith traditions and lessons are passed on to a new generation, where values are taught alongside arithmetic and grammar, where the whole person is nurtured in a supportive, faith-based environment. In Catholic schools, children learn to become responsible, caring citizens, the community and church leaders of tomorrow. Dreams are born in grant-funded programs like Young Authors Night at Holy Name School in Escanaba, Community Heroes Day for Father Marquette students, or on a field trip where Sacred Heart classmates snowshoed in the footsteps of snowshoe priest Bishop Baraga. These are experiences that not only last a lifetime, but influence it as well. We know Catholic schools work. 94% of Catholic school graduates go on to graduate from college, and the majority of priests and religious leaders graduated from Catholic schools. Because tuition covers less than 35% of student education costs, grants and other funding are essential to the existence of Catholic schools. Just as spreading and living the Word of Christ is integral to our religion, it is our duty to keep Catholic education affordable and accessible to all.
It's very important that we see our Catholic schools as available to everyone. not just those who are wealthy, but folks at every income level should be able to afford to send their children to Catholic schools. And I want to make sure that that is indeed the case here in the Diocese of Marquette.
It's been said that Catholic schools are the Church's biggest secret. People just aren't aware of all the wonderful things that we do. Catholic schools do an excellent job with very limited resources. I sometimes wonder what we could do if our resources were expanded. Resources in the Catholic school are not just financial, it's also the human resources that we need also in the Catholic schools. And these human resources and all of our resources are what ultimately shape our Catholic identity.
The next $3 million will be dedicated to the faith formation and education of our people, both our young people, our children, our teenagers, but also adult education. I have become absolutely convinced that there is a great need today for education of our people in our faith, to be able to support at the grassroots level in our parishes through the income off of this $3 million in the endowment, religious education and faith formation programs that will literally revitalize the faith lives of our people, which then gives a whole new life to our local church. $1 million from the $10 million endowment then will also be dedicated to our Catholic charities of the Upper Peninsula. And this is something really very much at the heart of the gospel. We call it perhaps the social gospel. You know, Jesus came to proclaim the gospel, to bring us the good news, to bring us the gift of salvation. But he also reminded us very, very strongly that we must have a preferential option for those who are most at need among us. And our Catholic Charities of the Upper Peninsula is a great social outreach of the Church to help those persons in need. And we want, again, our services to be available to all people of all income levels. And so by setting aside the income off of $1 million in the endowment for our Catholic Charities of the Upper Peninsula, we can be sure that those persons who are in need of professional counseling, be that substance abuse counseling or marriage counseling or problems with family or difficulties at work, whatever the problems might be, we, the Church, in the name of Jesus, want to be able to reach out to those people, and we want to make sure that we have, again, the resources to secure the financial future stability of our Catholic charities.
When I was practicing law, we looked to them a lot to help out individuals or families who were having a difficult time. It's confidential. It's usually a person you may know in the church or parish, but you didn't realize the role they may be playing, or the support mechanism that is there through your parish to help you through these difficult times.
Well, if you've been keeping track and adding up the numbers, you realize that there's still $1 million more in the total of the $10 million. And this we've dedicated to what we're calling the Catholic Action Fund. And this is sort of a bishop's discretionary fund that, as the bishop sees particular needs within the diocese, most probably related to the other areas that we've already talked about, but where there isn't a clear source of support for that, the bishop has the ability to use the income off of that $1 million to dedicate in Catholic action to those particular projects that he sees as very important for the vitality of the Church in the Upper Peninsula, and again, to hand on that legacy of faith to the people of the Upper Peninsula.
With the powerful effect of the movie The Passion of the Christ, the Catholic Action Fund allowed the diocese to create a video encouraging people to come back home to the Catholic Church to encounter Christ and the resurrection.
It is a responsibility of all of us in this Diocese of Marquette to be good stewards of the gifts that have been given to us. Stewardship is a very important part of living the gospel message, of living the Christian life. We have been entrusted with much. The Lord has placed much in our hands. And we realize, and we must realize, that we are only pilgrims in this world. We are only passing through. And we only have been given the use of what the Lord has entrusted to us during our time here, and we need to be good stewards of that which we have received.
You are being asked to stretch your generosity and make yours a sacrificial gift. Most people who consider a founding leadership gift will be contributing from their estate assets. These assets can include stocks, bonds, real estate, insurance policies, retirement plan proceeds, personal property, bequests, and charitable trusts.
Bishop Garland invited a number of us to come to Marquette. He introduced us to this concept he had of starting an ambassadors club. The fee, or the amount of money he was looking for, was anything from $25,000 on up. I'm not accustomed to giving out $25,000 or more. At least I particularly wasn't at that time, and found that the amount that they were asking for was just too much. And I suggested maybe they ought to be looking at smaller amounts, but the bishop decided that $25,000 as a minimum to belong to the Ambassadors Club was necessary. I decided after a number of months that maybe I should try to do it. And so I pledged that amount of money to give over a 5-year period of time. And it turned out to be the one time in my life that I gave money that it didn't cost me anything. The contribution that I made to the Ambassadors Club, when we made that 1/5 payment every year, I think we paid it for 3 years now, we just seem to be able to afford to do that without even noticing that it's gone. And I do believe there's something to that.
Pledges may be made over a 5-year period or longer if necessary.
All the blessings we get are from God, and each of us has really an obligation, not just the sense of charity, but an obligation and justice to render to God something back from what He has given to us. And I think that a truly deeply grateful Christian and human being will respond generously and joyfully because they realize this vision of faith is something that all of us hope and wish to see endure.
Unapologetic.